Hey everybody, welcome back to the Capes Cast podcast. I'm Jeremy,
And I'm Ryan.
and this is probably going to be our last one of the year. I mean, it's most almost definitely going to be our last one of the year.
2024 was a great year for comics.
Dude, yeah, for comics, for my collection, just the stuff that just comics in general, I think it was a really, really fun and great year for new stuff to come out, stuff to get re-released in collected editions. A lot of innovative stuff happening in comics at the moment. Um, I mean, like just like even if you give like a brief rundown of the stuff that's happened this year, like you've got, the Ultimate Universe is in full swing. You've got the three ongoing titles for the Energon universe are finally happening. You've got Void Rivals, Transformers, G.I. Joe now. That's still really selling. You've got the Absolute Universe, which is now, three out of the six initial titles are
Mhm.
out. The second wave coming in March. Um, you have a really, really big, I would even argue another year of like explosive indie titles,
Yeah.
from every publisher. Like every
Yeah.
publisher, I feel like this year has had a really, really solid standout book.
I
Um,
mean, pretty much every creative seems to have their own book. Like every creative, like
Yeah. If
writer.
it, right, if they're popular and you follow them in capacity, they have a Marvel or DC book and they have their own creator own book
Right.
going on right now. Um, if not both, one or the other. And I just think it's a really good time to be a fan of comics or, new or old. If you're a new fan, there's literally it's like television at this point
Yeah.
for new readers. Yeah, there's countless genres, styles of storytelling, art styles. Like there's so many different like avenues for a new reader to get into comics right now.
Right.
But even if you're an old reader, you could find something in the indie market that you necessarily never would have thought about reading before, due to it has some similarities to something you've been reading at Marvel and DC for a long time. And like a good example of that would be the Power Fantasy.
Oh man.
It
I
has a
was just
lot.
thinking about that. I was just thinking about that.
I mean, and
Like,
like that book is directly inspired by Kieran Gillen's time at when he was working on X-Men for the Krakoa era stuff.
yeah,
So
but this is way, I mean,
I mean,
this,
it's leagues, it's bounds f beyond what they could do with the X-Men at Marvel
yeah, I'll go
because
into when we get into it. I'll go into my favorite issue of that so
yeah,
far.
I
I
mean
do have
we'll definitely talk about it in depth more, but like yeah, like and if anybody that is watching this is an X-Men fan and you're looking for something that can really scratch that itch and you don't have to worry about the you know, shuffling of characters or, 80-year dynamics that don't make sense or storylines that feel similar or art that isn't really up to your standard, or even the quality of storytelling that an indie book allows because you're not inhibited by the existing universe that it sits in already.
right.
Um, that's a good example of a book for long-term comic fans if they're looking for something similar to something they're already reading from the big two that's not the big two. I would say now's more than ever is the time to start, you know, gravitating towards the indie publishers because there's just a lot of quality content out there that
Yeah,
I mean for really honestly speaking, most of those books are higher quality than what Marvel and DC puts out,
of
generally
course.
speaking, I think.
Of course, because there's no editorial getting in the way.
Right. Yeah, exactly. There's not as much oversight with that because you're right. You're not playing in somebody else's sandbox and having to make sure the toys don't get broken.
Right.
Basically in the if we're using Power Fantasy as the example, Kieran Gillen he made all the toys. He can do whatever the hell he wants with them. He can break them and throw them in the grinder and never use them again if he wanted to.
Which, I mean, pretty much this whole first arc was about introducing the toys and just showing us what the
Yeah.
toys are.
Yeah.
You know, um, it's
Right.
pretty
And here's the thing that I think that book has going for it that really sets it apart from a lot of the other books is if we take the sandbox and the toys analogy. he's not just building the toys and showing us how he built them. He's showing us how he built the sandbox.
Yeah,
Like he's showing us like the intricacies, like the details behind it. He's even giving us a few hints in the some of the back matter. Like he's taking the time to world build in a way that we're constantly being fed new information, and but it's not information. It's not like new information in the sense where it's like, oh, this just happened and we can't believe it. Like it's these like really, really world-changing events
right,
that we don't that we're like in the dark about, and that a character will like briefly reference, or it'll like be in passing, or like we'll see it on like a screen in the background on the TV, like, or like
yeah,
a news flash, and then a couple issues later it'll be addressed, and they're like, oh, so that's what that was.
right.
Like that style of storytelling I really appreciate because it's just not something that is found in the main in the big two a lot, especially when
Issue
you're trying to
four
craft a
really
world that
got
big.
me. Issue four like hooked me, like
Yeah.
hooked me. Because when it kind of just showed this like beautiful woman, and then you find out she's like tied to a kaiju type, and you see the kaiju in the beginning, and you're like, what am I even looking at? And you're like,
Yeah, well, like, right, and it's not even so much that it's just this idea that she has this like this connection to this thing or this force or this being or whatever it is that's inside of her that all these negative emotions draw out. But like it's more than just that on the
yeah,
surface level,
yeah,
because like when you take it apart and you dissect it and you break down like Masumi as a character,
mhm,
she has all of these like anxieties and worries and problems. One, about like getting to that point again and losing control.
yeah,
Or two, she's just a person and she just wants her work to be reflected, like she just wants it to be appreciated by someone. But the problem is nobody really, really genuinely thinks she's a good enough artist to be recognized. But the amount of power that she wields is so scary to so many that they're like, okay, you're so good. We
Well, it's
really
not even that.
appreciate
Imagine
your art.
dating her. We see that too. Like dating her.
Right.
Like, what do
Right.
you do?
Exactly. Like and how and they don't even there's no punches pulled
Yeah,
in that issue when the girlfriend is like, hey, just like do it this one time. He's like, okay, it's fine, and they'll be like just like the other times, but you won't remember. And then bam, it happens. She doesn't remember, and I'm like, oh shit.
yeah,
Like it's just everything is thought out. Every connection is intentional. Every basic. It seems like every word is intentional. Like there's gonna be something to tie back to something else later on.
of course.
Like, but like those, I think that's probably been the biggest shift in comics. I would feel like is just how hard and how fast the indie market has come up. I mean, and just in this year alone,
Right.
like at the end of last year, it was like really seeing a steady increase. But like now it feels like across the board, your indie publishers are pumping out some quality stuff.
It's
Like
insane.
IDW, you have a Ninja Turtles relaunch.
Yeah.
On top of that, you've got Naruto X TMNT, which people are, enjoyed the first issue.
Last
It's
Ronin
full.
2 is still going.
Last Ronin is still going.
Hmm.
You've got you. There's so much to look forward to. I mean, Boom is right now is all full steam ahead with Something is Killing the Children still. They're doing a lot of anthology style storytelling.
Right.
They've released a few like books from their kids line, like the Boombox one that's more like not like strictly kids, but more like younger geared audiences.
Right.
Um,
All those
dude,
like young adult books,
yeah, like
yeah,
yeah, exactly. Like, and then you've got like, Titan Comics. They are, running the Conan game, and
yeah.
people really like Conan right now, like under Titan, who so I think it's Jim's whoever, I don't even think it's Jim's up. Whoever's writing right now is doing a good job.
I think it is Zub.
Is it Zub?
I think it's still Zub. I think so.
Okay. Well, if it is Zub, then people are still enjoying it because
Yeah.
I don't even keep up with Conan, but every time I hear about Conan, they're like, "Oh, I just like Jim Zub, so he must still be writing
I mean, anything's better than what Jason Aaron did with him, but
it."
you know,
Uh, but yeah, like there's just like there's something for everyone right now. I feel like, and the Invincible universe is returning, like in comic form. Like there's if
Yeah,
it's not already happening, it's about to happen, and it's something to look forward to if you're a fan of comic books.
right. And
Um,
I mean, to be honest with you, even shifting a bit from the indie stuff to something that feels indie, I'm not sure if you've even watched Creatures Commandos yet, whatever.
I haven't watched any of it yet, no.
Dude, it feels like an indie, like James Gunn's indie book, like what he's doing with these characters. It's just he has full liberty. It's so much fun. Um, Highly implore anybody to watch that, especially if you love that James Gunn R-rated kind of humor and
Yeah.
violence. That last episode that came out, bro. Before this last one, the Weasel episode, that's how almost had me in tears, man.
That's
Like,
what I keep hearing, dude. I keep hearing people say it's like hella sad.
dude, that Weasel episode killed me, man. Like, yeah,
Oh
that was
man.
brutal.
I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, and but other than that, man, what else? Let's say from the big two, what are your favorites so far this year that's come out?
I
Highlights.
mean, do you want to do like five Marvel, five DC?
Yeah, I mean, or we could just wherever the conversation takes us. Don't really matter.
Uh, I mean, I would say like if I had to pick like a few just off the top of my head as far as like favorites go, see, like it it's hard.
I'm
It
gonna
gets
just
hard.
go
It
out
gets
and
hard
say
fast, dude.
I'm gonna just go out and say after these 12 issues of Ultimate Spider-Man, to be able to have a great Spider-Man run, let
Yeah,
alone
no, that's true. I
that.
and they left us with a hell of a stinger
Dude, that last
for
issue,
this year, dude.
that
For this
last
year.
issue, man. Oh
What?
my
Yeah,
God.
what a page turn, man.
Yeah, I mean, we thought we were getting this like wholesome Christmas, and then at the
Yeah.
end it just gets dark. Like
I was like, "Oh
it kind of seems
no."
like Hickman's, not to get too into it, but it kind of seems like Hickman's put it like mixing the whole clone thing and the Venom thing now with the AI thing with the
Yeah.
Pico.
No, I am fully on board with whatever he wants to do at this point. But two, if you want to like amalgamate, if that's even a word, if you want to do that to like some storylines to kind of keep the high intensity pacing of this
Yeah,
while also telling your own storyline all the way through, do it.
yeah,
100% do it, man. You already have littered this book with like Spider-Man mythos references. You
yeah,
throw down an Iron Spider suit like 5 issues into the book and say no thanks.
yeah.
You throw down the Ben Riley moniker with it, on a newspaper article.
Right,
Like you're doing so much already. Then like what? Why stop him? Like
right.
why even like don't even put the brakes on, dude. Just go full steam ahead. Who cares?
Even just issues of people just talking are
Yeah,
incredible. The
just great.
character work is next
Top
to
notch,
none.
dude.
So,
But I would say okay, like if I have to pick my most favorite book from Marvel,
it's got to be Immortal Thor, right?
yeah, it's a no-brainer. And it's not even because that book is just genuinely the best book that Marvel is putting out. Like
Yeah,
the Ultimates is incredible. Every issue
right.
is incredible. It's well written. There's a lot of story building
Yeah,
going on. Like there's a lot of world building there. Like there's
yeah,
all the stuff that you look for in like a team book. But I will never not be biased.
yeah. I mean, it's okay.
And you have one of my favorite writers on the title. And while I do wish I had Kokolo on art
Mhm.
still, Basil Dua is doing a good job. I enjoy it. It's not bad art. It's it's every single issue gives me something about Thor that I really like or that I've just read, or it's just like it's weird because like I feel like I'm at that point now where I know in large Thor as a character.
Yeah,
I know his history. I know the big story beats. I've read almost all of like Thor from start to current.
right. And it seems
So
like this run kind of rewards you if you have,
yes,
but it
yes,
also doesn't penalize you because if you have
yes,
if you're a casual Thor fan, you're learning a lot.
yeah, exactly. And I think that's what works like to this book's benefit is while some issues aren't as action packed as they could be, every single issue is giving you a piece of Thor's mythology that one, if you knew it already, it's recontextualizing it. And two, if you didn't know it, it's giving you a chance to learn what it is, how it used to work, and how it now fits into present day continuity.
Right.
Like Magni's a good example. Magni should not exist. He should be
Right.
gone. He shouldn't even be used. But I've missed that character. So when you get the drop in 17 where he's back, you're like, oh shit.
Yeah.
So for somebody like me, I'm like, wow, this is really great. But for somebody like who, like for you, if you haven't read Jurgen's run
Right.
on Thor and you see Magni, you're just like, oh, I didn't know that he had a son from an alternate timeline.
Right.
And now that
It's
you
not like he
do,
doesn't explain it though. Omura explains
right,
it.
exactly. Exactly. That was my next point is like not only do you learn who it is, you learn why he's important to this
Right.
story and why they chose him after referencing other children that she could have brought back.
Right.
So like, and I think that's the book's biggest strength and Ewing's biggest strength is his
Yes.
ability to navigate continuity in a way that
Right.
most other writers can't.
Which looking forward to 2025, man. I'm really stoked to see what he does with Metamorpho. Metamorpho's gonna
Dude,
be fun.
that's what I need to get onto this week, like today. Actually, I should probably read that.
Oh, is it out? It came out last week?
Came out this week.
Oh, I need hopefully the shop still has it. If not, I gotta put it on my poll. But yeah, I mean, I can't wait to see what he does with that because I know he's gonna have a lot of deep dives. Even just the preview page I saw of it, I was like, oh, you know,
Yeah.
Ewing coming to DC is gonna be a lot of fun. It's gonna
Yes,
be
it
fun,
is, man. Absolute Green Lantern is gonna be really cool. I'm
dude.
looking forward to that.
Yeah,
Um, there's so much I'm looking forward to.
yeah, dude.
Uh,
I mean, Lemire being part of the Absolute Universe, even is just that's a no-brainer. I mean, when
yes,
I heard that, I was just like, well,
dude. Like when they announced that he was coming back, or like when it was leaked that he was gonna do Flash before they announced he was doing JSA also. I like clicked my heels 3 times, dude.
right.
I was so stoked, bro.
The
I
one
I
thing,
never thought he was gonna come back.
yeah,
Like if
dude.
somebody like a year ago, if somebody would have said, "I'm gonna bet you $1 million," I would have said, "Okay, I'm about to be a millionaire." I would owe somebody a lot of money right now.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
But
I
because
think
I was
Jeff
so
Lemire.
confident he was never gonna come back, dude.
Yeah. Well, I think Jeff Lemire's great. Like his creator own work is great. His deep dives are great, but I don't think a lot of people really bring up the fact that he's a great team player too. He is a great team player. When he's working with other creators and they're
Yes.
making, dude, I remember being so engrossed in that Animal Man Swamp Thing that Snyder and him.
Crossover, yeah.
Dude, that was
And
fun.
like and what the other crazy thing to me too is like when I hear the story about how like the falling out with DC that he had,
Yeah.
and like you're right, he is a really good team player. So like what is that like that kind of speaks more to the other parties involved with that situation and not so much him because the dude creates universe after universe after universe and lets other people play in it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Black Hammer's a really good example. There are plenty of those spin-off titles that are not written by Lemire,
Right.
now at least. And you have the Green Lantern Dark, which, as far as I know, was originally going to be a Lemire title for 5G,
Oh
now
my.
being written by Tate Bramble, which an understudy technically of Lemire's because they've worked so closely together and he's been working with Lemire on Black Hammer and other stuff.
Right. I can't get Lemire, so let's get the next best thing.
Right. And maybe DC pitched the idea back to Lemire and he's all like, maybe yes, if you didn't want me to do these two, or it could have been something entirely different where DC said, "Hey, we want you back. What do you want to do? Do you still want to do the Green Lantern book?" He may have said, "No, I want to do these, but I have somebody lined up that can do the Green Lantern book."
Well, I think it's also just saying like, hey, you want more freedom. Here's this universe. Go. Like, go.
Right.
Whatever you
And the
want.
nice thing with the Green Lantern Dark book not being written by him is one, it frees him up to do other things in DC that's not just a limited series and like a one-off, Elseworlds. But then you get more tape because now he's writing two books for DC. He's writing Green Lantern Dark and Batgirl. He gets a little bit
Right.
more under his belt. And two, you're still keeping another imprint alive with the Tangent universe and Elseworlds like at the same time.
Right.
And you're not taking away from the stuff that Lemire's going to be doing.
Yeah. Yeah. Which I heard his
Um,
Batgirl's actually pretty good, so I need to check
yeah,
that out.
that those first two issues are actually not bad.
Oh, well, good. Cassie needs, between her
Yeah.
beating Birds of Prey and her getting her own series, good. Cassie's great.
If I had to pick my favorite DC book, damn, dude, that's hard.
Yeah. DC's been killing it this year, man. They've been killing it. Um, there's just so many highlights
I don't
because
want to jump the gun and be like, oh, absolute Wonder Woman, but those first two issues were fucking crazy, dude.
fire, fire. I haven't read the
Um,
third issue. I know that came out this week,
yeah,
but
I need to read that too. I still need to get to that. If I had to pick though, where's my where's my stack from this week?
I mean,
I didn't even see what
it's
it,
so hard because what Joshua Williamson's doing right now with Superman is great.
Superman is pretty tight, dude.
Yeah. Um,
I'll tell you my favorite covers for DC or Power Girl covers though.
oh yeah. Well, I mean, of course.
I just wish the book on the inside was as good.
Yeah, I understand that.
I
I had to jump off that Leah Williams run. I had to jump off.
The covers, dude, are just
Yeah.
they're the only thing that keep me reading it every single month is like I'll like look at the cover, I'm like, wow, this is just so nice.
Yeah.
And then I'll read the book and I'm just like, wow, this cover was so nice.
Right.
I see
Yeah.
the first thing when I before I open it and then the last thing when I close it. Wow,
Right.
that cover was so nice.
Hmm.
That's all I have to say about it
Yeah.
at this point. But if I had to pick my favorite DC book, Batman Dark Age.
Oh yeah, for sure. For sure. There were a couple really good Batman books this.
Best book of the year from DC, no
Yeah.
doubt. Hands down.
Another one that I want to
Oh,
highlight.
well,
What's that?
I'm
Are,
still
are you gonna say Silent Night too?
no, I mean that I have to read the last issue I still have to read. Number
Yeah.
5 or whatever, right?
Yeah.
That's the last one.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's been pretty cool.
Yeah. I read the first one. I didn't jump on this one, but
Um, dude, I don't even know. Let me just go back and see what other stuff I've read. If I
well,
had to pick like an image book, Power Fantasy. No
yeah,
doubt, dude.
for sure. For sure.
That's like a 20 out of 10 book, dude.
For sure. Yeah.
Uh, I mean, it might literally just, well, I really, really liked War Journal.
Oh yeah. Phil Kennedy Johnson ate on that.
I haven't seen hardly anybody talk about it. I really
No, I
like
don't think a lot of people read it, to be honest with you.
probably why I got turned from an ongoing to a 12 issue.
Probably.
Freaking
Which sucks
DC.
because even what he was doing when working with Jeremy Adams and they're like, you
Hmm.
know, that was fun.
Yeah,
So
it was really cool. Um, yeah, no, I think I'll go with Batman Dark Age probably.
yeah, yeah.
It
That
was
makes
just so good, dude.
yeah. I mean, you can't beat that team.
Nope.
Like
Russell and All Red are
if
like
I
the D
find out that they're
team for
coming out
me,
with an
man.
indie book, I'm getting it. If they find out that they're doing an indie book, I'm getting it. Like
Dude, could you
based
just
on the
imagine like just like a super like original superhero story like in indie, but like in that same style?
yeah.
Yeah,
Russell's so good, dude. He's a great writer, man.
dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, he really is. He's incredible. Um, I don't even what the hell did I read from Boom this year? Oh yeah, uh, what was that book called? I'm like pulling a fat ass blank now. Dude, all right. Helena Winhorn, another good book.
Yes. Yes.
I really
Fantastic.
enjoyed Helena Winhorn.
10 out of 10. Yeah. I mean, if
Just,
you wanted more Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow, here it is. It's
I
just a
mean,
little
yeah,
more
quite
mature.
literally.
It's just a little more mature and medieval, but great.
There wasn't okay, maybe it wasn't Boom.
Um, IDW, I'm loving Aaron's Turtles. Aaron's Turtles has been great.
Yeah, I,
Yeah.
which is like surprising for me because like I've just never really been super invested in turtles, but
Right.
I like it. I think it's
Yeah.
interesting. This last issue, the issue 5 with the Casey stuff, and like
That
I
was
liked
probably my
it.
least favorite issue, but it was necessary. Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
it was very much like setup because it feels like this guy's like the villain, right? Or
Yeah.
like gonna be like the kind of like the first antagonist to this book.
It seems like he's the one that revived the Foot Clan, and the
Mm,
Foot Clan's
okay.
working for him
Yeah,
now.
because I had a few questions about that because I was just kind of like I basically just read it and I was like, okay, I don't know
Yeah,
who you are. I know who Casey is, but that's about it.
right. Because Shredder's
I
been dead. Shredder's been
I
dead since the
don't
Prime.
like I don't like Derek Robertson on art in
I
this
don't
issue.
either. Thank God he's going to be off, but that was just a one-off issue. But
I
I
mean, it
don't.
was fitting for like the just like drawing humans, but like when he drew like the mutant characters, I was like, ooh,
Yeah, even that, like, because I have a variant cover, and I even that is like my least favorite of the five. The
yeah.
variant. So
That's why I picked up the Christmas one.
yeah, that's so
The other thing that's been really big. Oh, not that it's like a favorite book, but like the Massiverse has still been like going on this whole last year.
yeah,
It lost a lot of momentum, I
yeah. For a
think.
lot of people, I know a lot of people jumped off.
I I read through all of Catalyst War. I read the A and B because it was like a point five issue, the B covers were. So it was like 30 cover A was the first part of that story, and then 30 cover B or 30.5 or 29.5, whatever the point five connecting cover to that issue was the B plot. So it was a
Right,
whole other issue from a different timeline to kind of connect them both.
right.
Um, but I mean, at the beginning of the year, there were several massive verse titles happening.
Hmm.
Like, if I'm not mistaken, um, The Dead Lucky was still going on.
Yeah,
No One was still going on. Um,
Rogue Sun is still going,
Rogue
right?
Sun is still ongoing.
Yeah,
Radiant Black was still ongoing. But with Radiant Black, it kind of faced a lot of scheduling stuff because of the two issues like being released simultaneously. So it was like
right,
Higgins having to double down on writing duty, and he was writing other stuff, and he was also like they're having to like have the artist do double like pull double work.
right.
But the event ended good. It ended the way that I like kind of expected it to. I'm still gonna keep reading Radiant Black. Rogue Sun is my favorite out of that whole bunch.
Right.
But like my not my I guess my anticipation for that whole universe has kind of died down a bit
Yeah.
because there's just so many other things happening in comics that are just
I feel like a lot for a lot of people.
really exciting right now. And
Yeah.
I'm hoping in February maybe this like relaunch or this like fresh start after the event will kind of give them the boost they need.
Right.
But like I I I really feel like that they should probably just focus on the t couple of titles for now
I
and
agree.
build those back up, and then maybe we get a crossover or something.
While I am happy with the overabundance of great stuff, I feel like a lot of creatives need to understand that like we can only buy so much, like we can't have everything on a pull list.
Which is why like I feel like a lot of them are trying so hard to to show us a gimmick essentially, you know? Like
Yeah.
with the Massiverse is a really good example. Not that it's like a gimmick, but like it's a really good example of using other forms of media to try and like entice people in. Like there was an animated short that they released for Radiant Black. There was a podcast that went
Yeah.
along with the No One series issue by issue. Every single month an issue was released. There was a new episode of the podcast released with it. It's now getting a movie that's going to finish out that entire story. You know, it's going to be technically a sequel to the book, a sequel to the podcast, and give us more information that we kind of got little bits of in the book and in the podcast, but it'll be in the movie.
Right.
Um, you've got Radiant Black doing the main like superhero generic, not generic, but like you know what I mean, like your typical superhero stuff.
Yeah.
But it's also doing some cool, interesting ideas like black light issues, where it's just like, you know, all the ink is like black UV ink, and
Pretty cool.
when you use a black light like a flashlight on it, it all lights up,
That's
you
dope.
know. So it's stuff like that, you know, or you've got Rogue Sun where you've got like your choose your own adventure books or you've got like your flip book where one story is, one way and then you flip it over and you've got the other
Right.
story, or you've got Radiant Pink, which was co-written by a streamer and the main character is a streamer.
Right.
You've got, like you have one book that started out as a Kickstarter, but then got pushed, got an image release.
Yeah.
Like, and they were like seeking out every avenue. And kind of adjacent to that, you've got Moon Man, which is from the Mad Solar imprint, which is kind of like another part of that black market narrative, like that whole brand that Kyle Higgins has created.
Right.
And that is by it's co-written by Kid Cudi. There's music being released alongside each issue for that. So they're doing all of those things to like connect comics to other forms of media
Right.
in ways that other brands are not. But then you've got like the Energon universe, which is just strictly two pre-existing properties, one original property, and just storytelling at just like di basically just pure storytelling for the sake of comic storytelling.
Right.
You
And it's
know,
nostalgic for us 80s.
exactly. Yeah, it revived a lot of life in Transformers and G.I. Joe. Um, and in the old, that there's a lot. So it's like picking out your favorites or the things that like are heads above the rest.
Yeah.
It's like it's going to be probably be different for everyone, and you've got another budding universe right now with Ghost Machine
Yeah.
and all the stuff that they're doing, and there's like 6 or 7 titles out from Ghost Machine now.
It's
That
insane.
Yeah, so like
Mhm.
if you just go based off like let's say you're only in comics to read shared universes right now,
Yeah.
and you're only picking up Massiverse, Ultimate Universe, Absolute Universe, Energon Universe, Ghost Machine. You know,
Yeah.
that's, roughly 25 to 30 titles.
Yeah.
And that's just self-contained small universes within comics.
Right.
That's not your typical ASM, Batman, Superman, Green Lantern, Flash, Fantastic Four, yada 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 readers, and all the other books that you're picking up. Or, you know, I mean, well, with DC right now, we're in an era where a lot of characters that wouldn't have gotten books in years past are
Yeah.
getting them now.
Yeah.
It's very much like it feels like it's kind of like we're going like a bygone era where, like where last time we had the white covers, like the white background covers, it was like all of these random miniseries, like series
Right.
for characters that never got. Like in March, we're getting a Secret Six series. When was the last time we got a Secret Six series? Pretty sure New 52
No,
or before
we
that.
got a terrible one when death metal happened, but I wouldn't count that.
Okay, that was like the Batman Superman,
Yeah, and it
and they
was
were
like
like the Secret
Shazam.
Six.
It was
Yeah,
like the Secret Six who
the
were
Batman who
infected
this
with
yeah the Secret
metal.
Six who laughs.
Yeah, it was stupid.
The laughing six.
Yeah, it was
They were
stupid.
there were no they weren't secret because you could hear them a mile away.
Yeah, I know. They just wanted to use that title so bad,
No,
I
I
guess.
know. And it
You know.
was like, okay, I'm not to dig on Williamson, but that's twice he's done this.
Right.
You did it with Secret Six, and then you did it with the Crisis on Infinite Earths.
Yeah.
Whatever, it's
Yeah.
fine. You know. But yeah, I there's just so many comics, man. Like to
Yeah.
enjoy, to read, to look at, to speculate on,
Yeah.
to
There's way too much. We can't fit it in this episode,
no,
but
you're
I
right.
mean, but what's gonna be really cool is I think 2025 is just I don't know. I'm so excited for this One World Under Doom. I
Yeah,
don't know.
that too. One World Under Doom is coming.
Ryan North is doing an event, man. That's cool. Like,
Yeah.
let him cook. He's great.
No, I 100% agree with that. I I'm curious to see if this will be the end of his run when One World Under Doom is done.
I hope not.
I hope so. I hope he still keeps going. I
Yeah.
really enjoy it because we're like about to crack 30, right? 30
Yeah.
issue.
Yeah, it was like 27 or 28 that just came out.
Yeah. Keep it up, dude.
Yeah. It's
Like
great.
let me get to 50. I mean,
Yeah.
even though Alex Ross isn't doing those covers anymore, let me get to
Such a bummer.
I know. Yeah, I
He
know.
better not ever get off Immortal Thor, I'll tell you that.
Dude, if I hope not.
Yeah,
I need
better
him to
not.
do the whole book like he did for Immortal Hulk. I need him to
Yeah,
do the whole thing.
exactly.
Because, dude, that cover for issue 19
Yeah, I was sick.
might be one of the best covers that I've seen from Ross in years, bro.
Yeah.
And just and it comes out in like 2 weeks or something, and I'm just freaking out because I need a poster of that. I need to find that enlarged somewhere,
Yeah.
dude. Him sitting on the throne and it's just all gold. It's fucking sick.
Yeah.
It's
And
just
dude,
so
they're gonna see the return and the returning fight of Taranos. So
oh yes, and number 20.
yeah,
Oh
that's gonna
God.
be fire too. Taranos coming back, him being prepared, him doing all this to prepare for him.
And he's probably gonna have his son fight with him.
Yeah.
Give me a break.
Yeah,
Ah,
dude.
I'm so ready, man.
It's gonna be
I'm
dope.
like tripping because at 25, it's gonna be what I'm pretty sure is gonna be the redesign and some big thing happening. Dude,
Oh yeah.
oh my God.
Yeah.
We got 2 minutes left, but it's fine because I just had this idea. What if he actually puts the fucking hurt on Tyrannos and takes his power?
Probably will happen. But but
He'll
we actually got
be
less than
the
a
elder
minute.
god of thunder for
It'll be
real.
dope. It'll be dope.
All right. Yeah, the last thing before we go. I hope everybody had a great year. Thanks for one, we really appreciate you guys tuning in for those that have been tuning in regularly. If you're new, thank you. If you're not new, thank you. Um, I think we really enjoy doing this. I know,
Yeah,
Ryan and I have fun. We like talking comics. We just love comics. So
exactly.
if you like
Well,
comics, like we like comics, we just want to talk about comics. I think 2025 for us will probably be a bit of a bigger year. We're gonna try and do some longer videos, some
yep.
other stuff, maybe get some creator interviews out there. But have a great New Year, everybody. Hope you had a Merry Christmas and peace out. Thanks
Later
again.
on, guys. See you next year.